Hey guys, let's talk about starting seeds. So if you're watching this right as I upload it, you know that it is just a few days before Christmas, and it's kind of counterintuitive to be thinking seed starting this time of year, but if you are an avid gardener, you know that it is never too early and it is never too late to start seeds if you have the right system and right tools in place. So this is my shed. I've brought you guys in here before because this is also where I brood my chicks. And so, like any homestead tool, it's ideal if you have multiple uses for it. So don't get stuck in a mindset that when you do something that you can only do that one thing with it. And in fact, I highly encourage you that if you can't use something for multiple purposes, pass on it, especially if you're just getting going. There are some specific tools that you need for some specific reasons that are primarily just for one purpose, so take that advice with a grain of salt. But if you can get more than one use out of it, that is definitely best bang for your buck. So this is my shed. And aside from being a brooder and my new seed starting place, because I used to do this at our business, and for those of you guys who have been following me for a while, know that we sold our business property in September, and so this is the first year I'm having to start seeds here at my house. And I preferred to do it at my business primarily because it was a controlled environment. I had protection. I don't have cats there, which is huge, and I had the space for it. So here I'm kind of reinventing my system, and that's something that I encourage you to be open to as well, is always be open to evolution. Don't get stuck in some sort of frame of mind. Don't be stagnant. Always be open to looking for new possibilities. So here's my shed. Aside from being a brooder and where I start my seeds, this is also my crap collector. And so yesterday I had to come out here, and especially since we sold our business and we just moved stuff and shoved it wherever we could, this space specifically was full of stuff that had no business being here. So yesterday I spent a good amount of time, well actually I spent about an hour fighting with my goats, telling them to go somewhere else, and about 15 minutes of actual time invested in cleaning up this space. But I got it ready, and I want to show you something too in regards to brooding chicks and fire danger, which has nothing to do with this video, but because this is where I brood my chicks, it's a good example. And I'm also going to do a video here on setting up a brooder because it's right next to me, but I'll put that out some other day. So this is my seed starting system. I have shown you guys this before. I've shown it to you in my greenhouse, but what is different here is my grow lights. And I am really fond of these particular grow lights, and I'm a little disappointed. I'll show you. I've had them both for about 10 years, and oh, that's a cat. You can't even see, but on each of them, one of my bulbs has died. And it's not the bulb itself because I've actually replaced those, so it's something within the lamp itself. But what I like about these is that they're adjustable, and that's important when you start seeds, because anytime you start seeds, you want to have your light as close to your seedlings as possible. Because if I were to leave this amount of space between my freshly germinated seedlings and the light, they are going to reach for the light. And what you end up with is these really tall, leggy, unhealthy plants that more often than not don't survive. So what you really want is light really close, like almost touching your seedlings, but not quite. And so this, and I have two of them on purpose, and that way I can start a tray. Usually I can fit, if I turn them like that, I can fit two underneath each light. And this gives me the freedom to have seedlings of different ages. And so these guys, I just totally love them. They've got this little ball with the chain, which allows you to adjust the light. Super handy. So like I said, I can have seedlings of different ages because I can start some seedlings and put my light right on top of my trays. And then I can, these guys are cabbage here, green cabbage, and I planted multiple seeds per square. And so now I need to open them up and transplant them into 4x4 pots. And they'll spend about a month, maybe 2 months in my little 4x4 pots before they move out to my garden. So do know that when you are in gardening, if you are new to this, there's very little instant gratification. So it is a time investment, it's an exercise in patience, it's an exercise in optimism. And that's something I do love about gardening is it takes you out of this time and place and transplants you mentally several months down the road, because you've got to be looking forward. If you start seeds today, that it's the season right now for them to be harvested, you're not going to get a harvest. It's all about the timing. So you need to look at your seed packet, see how long the days until, and I believe it's not from germination, it's from transplanting to harvest is oftentimes printed on the actual label for the seeds themselves. And so I like to give myself at least several weeks ahead of that in order to get my seeds started, get them transplanted into bigger pots, and then when they go out into the garden, that's when your time frame starts as far as your days to harvest. So I've got these two guys, best tools ever. And then I wanted to show you my seed starting trays. This one is, I believe it's a 40 hole, where these other ones are 24 hole. I prefer the 24, especially for bigger plants like tomatoes, peppers, cabbages. This one is ideal for little things like herbs. So I am realistic about myself, my attention span, my workload. I'm juggling a ton of stuff. And so in order to make sure that my seedlings germinate and survive, I really like this system because it's got, this is, and it's not full of water right now, but this holds water. And then this little styrofoam thing keeps my seedling tray out of the water, and then this is a capillary mat. And so what this does is this wicks up water, and so my seedlings are constantly moist. It's not that I have to remember to come out and water them daily, because if that were on me, chances are good I would never have a garden. Because I'm kind of hit and miss. I work in waves and phases. My excitement also ebbs and wanes. And so creating a system that caters to how I operate has been integral. So that's my system there. It also comes with this little greenhouse tray, or lid. Important, because it's going to be warm and it's going to be moist under here. I always sprinkle cinnamon on the surface of the soil. It's an antifungal and antimicrobial. There is a condition called dampening off, where a fungus grows on the surface of the soil, especially if it stays moist like this, and that will kill your seedlings right off the bat. So if you sprinkle cinnamon on the surface, you no longer have that problem, because it does kill that fungus or whatever it is, algae looking stuff, before it even has a chance to get started. So, but because you're going to have a warm and humid environment, it's also important that as soon as you see your first germinated seedling that you remove this. So I know many people want to leave it on until all the seedlings germinate. You're going to end up killing your seeds. So when you see the first germination, this just kind of gives you a quick heads up, or leg up, I guess, expedites your germination process, but then it's important to remove it. You do not want to leave it on, especially when you've got growth. So really, it's not that complicated. And if I can do it, and if I can find a system that works for me, you guys can definitely do this. So like I said, I absolutely love these grow lights. If I could give you any piece of advice, it would be, don't go too big. I do have a big 4-foot shop light that we were going to hang in here, and I really debated, because I like the flexibility of being able to start seedlings at different time frames, because I will keep this going for months. And so it's going to be a graduated process where I start seeds, I transplant seeds, I start more seeds, I transplant more seeds, and so eventually this is going to fill up with not only the trays, but also the 4x4 square pots with my transplant in them before they're ready to go out. Right now I do have the luxury of 2 greenhouses, so that is a new blessing for our homestead, and so chances are real good that I'm going to fill up all 3 spaces long before they're ready to go out into the garden. And that is the best way to garden, because you need to also keep in mind that not everything's going to survive. So if you plant 100 seeds, expect that pests are going to get to them, birds are going to get to them. In my case, my chicken destroyers get to them regardless of how hard we work at keeping things secure. They seem to always find the flaw in my system. So I overplant. I seriously overplant. And I forget the saying that farmers plant one for the crow, one for the insect, something like that. I don't even know. I should probably look that up before I go to quote quotes. But it rings true, because you need to know you're not going to have 100% success rate. So plan for that. And that's going to save you a lot of heartbreak on the front end and the back end. So what I'm doing here, and I'm excited to announce, and I'm going to put a link in my description for Mary's Heirloom Seeds, is I am preparing for her 2020 challenge. She's issued a challenge on 3 different fronts, and I am mission oriented. If you guys have been following me for a while, know that I love challenges, I love missions, I love goals, and so when she issued this, I was like, yes, right up my alley. So she's doing a tomato challenge, a pepper challenge, and then a pollinator garden challenge. All 3 just right after my own heart and my passions. So I jumped in, I ordered her entire combo pack. I do have a link for her website. She is an affiliate of mine, she's also a good friend of mine. But I just went ahead and linked to her main page, so scroll down to see all her combination packs. But that way, because this is evergreen content, if you catch me sometime 5 years from now, you're still going to have a link to her product, but it may not necessarily be to that challenge package. So I hope you guys got something of value out of this. I do want to show you real quick, because as I was cleaning out my shed, I realized that I left my Brinsea heat plate, which is, I use that rather than a heat lamp, and I'll show you what it looks like. I left this on in my shed for like 3 months. Holy cow. And this is what I like about it. It's a radiant heat plate, so there is no fire danger. And this is what I want to show you guys. So the fire danger, where it comes in with brooding chicks, is heat lamps, and then you have them on pine shavings, and then this is what they produce. You guys see this? I have that all over my shed, and I clean it up every time I'm done brooding, but they kick up these pine shavings, which creates this dust layer, and it goes everywhere, including the heat lamp. And so you get a layer of this on your heat lamp. It is a recipe for disaster. If your heat lamp falls, you're going up in flames. So if I could recommend any product as far as brooding chicks, and I know that has nothing to do with starting seedlings, but it just happened to coincide that as I was cleaning up my shed, getting ready for seedlings, I found the sucker on, and I went, holy cow. And thank God I went with radiant heat plate instead of walking off leaving a heat lamp, which I hope to God I would have noticed. This is a little less obvious. It did keep my shed nice and warm. But, so yeah, things to keep in mind as you take on livestock adventures is you're also taking on some liability and some risk. So, safety, safety, safety. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this was of value. My friend Kelly did ask me to put this out. I kind of operate under the assumption that everybody else knows what they're doing, and I'm just kind of following the flow and doing the same things, and everybody knows what I'm doing. And I've come to find out that's not the case. So I will try and be better about sharing. So if this was something you found interesting, please give it a like, share, and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed to the channel. And feel free to comment with any questions. I love seeing you guys comment. I miss the live format because this is all about community for me. So I thank you guys for joining me. Hope you guys take care. And if you watch this before Christmas, I wish you and your families a very Merry Christmas. Talk to you later.